There's this saying, I start with this quote, practice makes perfect. But in my life, practice and sleep makes perfect. So sleep is
You're
so
right.
important. Practice means to learn. After what we learn, we need to sleep to consolidate the memory in order
Mm-hmm.
to remember it for life. Rested night. You have enough sleep,
Mm.
your mind is cleared of all the waste, and therefore your neurons are firing at optimum level. Hence, your front part of your brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, we do a lot of analysis. Before you talk, we need to analyze, right? What to say, right? Or how to say
Mm.
things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's clearer.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, when we have a clearer mind, not so foggy, our points we put across straight to the point, very clear, very impressive, and very confident.
Mm.
Good afternoon. This is Mala from Hearts&Minds Development Center. Welcome to Being Whole, Being Me series. Wow, 52. Now it feels like I'm only having my favorite people in my show. And today, yes, he is also my favorite. Now he only became my favorite in the last 1 hour. So I had to hunt down Roland Ong. So I put out my filler, and two people recommended him to me. Carl Reddy. Carl, so if you're listening, thank you, Carl, and Nate Kumar. They said this guy is obsessed about sleep, right? So I didn't know what obsession was. I just caught up with him, and he was in London, and he couldn't stop talking. I found someone who talks more than me because he's so passionate about sleep. So without much ado, you might want to figure out why does someone who's doing leadership work be interested in sleep? And that's the one that was bothering me. So without much ado, I'm going to bring in our wonderful Roland Ong. If I were you, I might have a paper and pencil ready or ready to click, take clicks so that you can share the amazing information that Roland is going to bring. Because I realize you can have a lot of money, you can buy a great bed, but not the sleep. But Roland is going to give us tips on how to just sleep better, plus live better. So let's bring in Roland on. Hey, Roland.
Hey, hi Mala. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks
Great,
for
great
yes,
intro.
all the way from London. That I remember the call and how quickly you responded to me. So welcome to the
Yeah,
show.
thank you.
So like I want to take all the juices off you. Already you got me excited now pre-chat. So tell us, I mean, you're a leadership consultant.
You
And
know,
most amazing, sorry, is that you also teach leaders how to sleep better. So tell
yeah,
us a little bit about tell us the story.
I've always, when I was in the banking industry for 18 years as a branch manager, leadership was something that I'm so passionate about. And leadership for me is guiding people, grooming people. It's not about ourselves, it's about
Mm,
people. If there's no follower, there's no leader. So I'm also very particularly interested in optimizing performance,
mm,
optimizing the mindset and the behavior and the performance itself. And we don't assess only performance. We need to assess the thinking processes. What makes a person think? And then I came out in year 2000 to do training and coaching, focusing on leaders as well as team. And I constantly look for tools, look for protocols to improve leaders, improve team in terms of their psychology first and foremost, then only their behavior.
Mm.
And then the beginning of last year, I came into the fact that what optimize physically the brain for
Mm.
the leaders to be effective in analyzing, deciding, motivating or not, disciplining or not, and so on and so forth. All the functions of a leader. And then
Mm.
sleep was one of the resource. So
Mm.
I researched very deeply into the work of Dr. Matthew Walker. Um, he's with Berkeley University. And then that branched out also to Dr. Andrew Huberman,
Mm.
right? And also Dr. Sachin Panda. We will cover what they do later on, right? So I got this holistic idea of our all strategies and protocols to sleep better, to eat better, to exercise better, in order to maximize the human potential, specifically for leaders as well as the general public. And that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Oh, so that's so interesting. So you got into this because you wanted to show leaders basically, and all of us lead our own lives, right?
Yes,
And so
yes,
what you're saying is that you, as you were trying to bring the best out of leaders, which is what they come to you for,
yeah,
and we use our best resource, which is our brain. And for
yes,
us to optimize our brain, we need to figure out how to best optimize our brain.
yes,
And
yes.
that's how you got into the research of how to optimize the brain. And how did you end up in sleep? Because leaders are not supposed to sleep.
That's a misconception, very large misconception. In fact, my program is saying if you're underslept, you're a bad leader. I know it's very bombastic in terms of the
Wow.
title,
I'm going
but,
to put you down.
but we've got science and data to back that up. So I dare to put it out there because I'm also passionate about it. Hey guys, wake up and understand this. You don't have to go through the difficulties of daily pressure, stress out, aloneness, and can't sleep at night. Just by sleeping better, you can cut out 50% or more of this type of conditions. Why not?
Mm.
Why not? And one more thing I wanted to add is this. It's not only to learn it, to research it, it's also for my own experience. So my approach to training and to work now is that I won't share what I have not experienced.
Nice.
Yeah. So we need to be the walk person, not talk about it.
Mm. Walk your walk.
Walk your walk. No, it's not good enough to talk your walk, right? It's walk the walk. So basically, what I'm going to share with you within this hour are things that I have done and
Mm.
what are the results I got. What are
Mm.
the knowledge that I got on top of that? And this is going to be practical and very insightful, depending on how deep we can go. So you lead, you lead
Well,
me.
yeah, I want to go as deep sleep because that's what
Wow.
I'm like. I want to my personal agenda is how do I hack my deep sleep because I've got friends who are sleeping really well. So Roland,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
interest in sleep started because I had a sleep disorder last year, which I've never had in my life.
yeah.
And so I've become every day when I wake up and I have my good 6 hours of sleep, just being
Cool.
able to sleep continuously for 6 hours. The first thing I
Mm,
do, I wake up is I thank God because I know what it was doing to my brain when I couldn't sleep last year. For
mm.
about 6 months, I was living on 2 to 3 hours of sleep, which was scary, right?
Yes, it
But
is.
I'm grateful now. Now I'm very grateful because now I know the value of sleep, and which is why I'm very grateful I found you. So thanks. And
Mm.
so let's talk about, maybe we will start off with what are some sleep disorders. So if people are out there listening to us and they're thinking, okay, but I can sleep. While I slept, I woke up. I sleep at 3 o'clock. I wake up at 6. I'm still okay, right? So
Yeah.
if you can just quickly tell us, what would you consider a sleep disorder first?
Sleep disorder, one of the most fundamental one is that we are not sleeping at the regular time.
Okay. So if
So
you're
if
not going to bed at a regular time, you already have a disorder.
you already have a disorder,
Okay.
specifically you are interrupting your sleep. Because sleep is actually a direct link to our body circadian rhythm.
Okay.
Circadian rhythm means about 24 hours rhythm of the day, right?
Mm.
So the circadian rhythm is actually not only in our brain, which is a master clock, throughout our body, within the DNA, within every cell, we have circadian clock. So biological clock in layman terms. For example, our stomach, there's certain time when the food comes in, and there's certain time they will digest. With the digestive juice, it will be secreted. They'll be digesting, and then they will pump it into the colon and the intestine. They have certain rhythm to it. And then when we take food out of the rhythm, the function of the stomach, also the absorption of the nutrients in the gut, will not be optimum. Then we feel tired, even though we say, "Oh, we eat so well," but I'm still very tired. I'm not healthy, for example. So there is a circadian rhythm to it. So going to bed same time, getting up same time. Let's say 8 hours apart. So that is the 9 o'clock go to sleep, 6 o'clock to wake up. Every day, we are setting our circadian rhythm, fix it from 10 to 6, and then the body and the circadian rhythm will flow same time.
You see, I'm already so stressed. Okay, hang on. So what you're saying is that the most important thing for us right now is to first understand how our biological clock works.
Yes, correct.
And the biological clock is known as the circadian rhythm.
Yes, yes.
What we're doing is that physically, biologically, sleep fits into your biology, right?
Yes.
Into your biology, right?
Our rhythm per day.
Yeah.
Our flow.
So
Our flow
your
per day.
flow. So
Yes.
if you know how you flow and you manage that flow, and that means that your body is not stuck. So if you're not stuck, you will be. If you flow well, you'll be healthy. That means don't interrupt your natural pattern. But first, it's for us to understand what is our natural pattern.
Yes, yes, our flow itself. Like in this chart, for instance, we are most in general, right? Every individual have got some slight variation. So I'm presenting a research that shows most people have this timing. So, for example, 10 to 1 o'clock, 10 morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, where our brain is the most alert. Our mind is the most alert and very attentive. So let's say at the work context, then we should have meetings where we discuss, analyze data, do a lot of analytics between 10 o'clock morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So my question to all of us, especially leaders and also the team members, are we doing the analytical work between this time? Or between this time, we do our own work, or we do something else that is not, don't need to think so much. Then we have not used these 3 hours properly in terms of boosting our productivity. Now, in the afternoon, if you look at it, maybe like 4, 5, 6 o'clock, that's when our body coordination and our muscle strength are at the peak. And shouldn't, like, we want to move the stationaries. We want to go and see clients, for example, and do presentation, for example. Don't you think that that is the best time to do it? Now, before this, and we just do it whenever. And then sometimes we go back and we think, I didn't do that well in my analysis this morning. Creativity session was quite boring, for example, because the creativity session, which is supposed to be done at 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., maybe was done at 4 a.m., 4 p.m., for example, where the body needs to move. It can't sit there. Right. So in the evening itself, right, look at sunset just beneath there. Now, the food need to be taken before 3 hours before we sleep.
Okay.
Right. So look at my example. By 6 o'clock, my dinner is done. It takes 3 hours for the digestive system to do its work and rest after 3 hours, which is 9 o'clock. And 9 o'clock to 10 is 1 hour window, which pay attention to this. This is so crucial. There is a time frame to prepare to sleep. You need 1 hour or 30 minutes, depending on individuals, 1 hour to prepare to sleep. So what do I mean by prepare to sleep? Most common, do not touch your electronics, because blue light from electronics not only will affect your brain in terms of the light, but because when we look at, let's say, a posting, and we say, this fella is talking nonsense, and then you start thinking, right? So your brain becomes so active, and then maybe stressed because of the cortisol that came out. And at night, when we are about to sleep, cortisol should not be present that much. Melatonin should be there. But instead, we are looking and we're analyzing our emails. Never mind, I'll send this email before I go to bed. Oh, your email is going to cost you 1-2 hours of sleep. Because the after effect. Now, 1 hour, prepare to sleep. So 9 o'clock, I prepare myself to sleep, right? So stay off your electronics. If you use electronics, that's fine, but go on a more like cheerful kind of usage. Chat with your family, make happy, loving. It calms you down because the good hormones flow, oxytocin flows in your blood system. So it's fine. What I'm saying is that avoid triggers for cortisol. So that 1 hour, and then in terms of the room, for example, it has to be cool. A cold room makes us sleep better. A hot room makes us sleep. It's tough to sleep in a hot room. So 16 degrees Celsius to 18 degrees Celsius the best for aircon. And when it's chill and it's cold, you would doze off easier. And that's the biology of our body. So just cover these 2 points first. So prepare to sleep, and then 10 o'clock you doze off.
Nice. So tell me, so I like, we are supposed to talk about sleep, you're talking about food. I'm like, I was just going to make a racial remark and say, you Chinese eat at 6 o'clock, we Indians eat at 8 o'clock. So all the other fellows who have late eating patterns, because we know Malaysia is known for mama.
Yes.
Hours, right? So just take us a little bit, a little bit of background as to, so the reason we need 3 hours before we need to have our last meal. Meal. Does that also mean last meal, last drink, everything last?
Any food or beverage that do not need digestion, for example, let's say plain water, is okay after 6. But if you drink coffee, you drink chocolate, you drink oatmeal, it needs digestion. That will interrupt the digestive.
So basically, 3 hours before you only drink water.
Yes.
Ayo, Roland, I brought you for sleep. Now you're changing my okay. So
now let me share with you first. This is important. How is it doable? Because my dinner was at 8 o'clock before this. And I'm able to change it to 6 because I paid attention to my circadian rhythm. From 8 o'clock, I try at 7, it can work. Then I try at 6:30, can work. I try at 6, can work. So baby steps. It's about changing the habits, right? Because once I change to 6, I feel different.
Okay.
I feel different. So that is the commitment. I want to feel better now. So it's doable, right? Now, why is it now? I'll just bring you through this point and then we will proceed with your question, yeah? Now, 6 o'clock, I stop eating. Then the following morning, until about 10 o'clock, right? Or 9 something to 10, which is, that means I have fasted for 14 to 16 hours. Then only I break fast. Now, the research has shown that we need to fast 12 to 16 hours for our whole system to cleanse itself. So a lot of hype about intermittent fasting. And now I would like you to take your knowledge of the intermittent fasting and stick it into the circadian rhythm. It's actually required by our body rhythm to rest for 12 to 16 hours of not eating. One of the maximum benefit is actually it boosts metabolism of fats. Because when we deprive of our food for 12 to 16 hours, our body has nowhere to take carbohydrates or protein. It will take from the body fat. And
Right.
can you imagine our visceral fat go down? So in other words, lack of sleep and also the wrong timing of food will increase visceral fat. And that's why
Okay.
a lot of people say, I go to gym, but I'm not reducing weight.
Got it. So I understand. So I think I missed out one part. Okay, even though I don't like this 12 to 16 hours of fast, I'm going to ask a question on that, right?
Great.
So what you're
Great.
saying, so I understand the context that you're giving in terms of your body needing to fast for 12 to 16 hours. So
Yes.
what I probably missed, and that's because I was so upset that you asked me to fast. What I'm missing is that how does the 3 hours helps me to sleep better? Because we're talking about sleep science.
Yeah.
Right? We're living
Yeah.
in Malaysia where we eat 24 hours. And then
Yeah.
after eating, a lot of people say, I'm so full, I can sleep. So for those people who are like that, and like, I had a roti canai at 12 o'clock and I can sleep. So Roland, I think you simply bluffing me. So tell us the science about the 3 hours and how that contributes to sleep more than well-being
Yeah.
in other areas.
Yeah.
How it really, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Food enters our stomach, gastric juice is produced automatically. When gastric juice is produced, it digests the food that we take and the
Okay.
drinks that we take. That means the stomach is working.
Mm,
So we can't sleep if the stomach is still working.
got it.
That
So
is the main point.
okay.
Then it flows to the gut, it flows to the
Mm,
intestine, right? The intestine starts working, and we can't sleep if the intestine works. And
ah,
and our body, let's say 10 o'clock needs to sleep, but I defy that. I add less than 3 hours before 10 o'clock. I want to sleep at 10, but I take my dinner at 8. My body wants to sleep, and yet my digestive system is still working.
mm,
Now, it has also been researched and proven that even though we got our master clock up in the brain that says, okay, time to sleep, melatonin comes up, but when we ingest food
mm,
against it, the ingestion of the food will overcome the master circadian rhythm, the master clock.
nice. It's not
And
mind over matter all the time, lah,
no,
because your
no,
mind
no.
is here also. Because we often assume the mind is here, and that's
Correct,
why we
correct,
think
correct,
I can
correct.
achieve whatever. But I think what we are proving over and over again in the well-being space is that you need to listen to your body because it is working
Yes.
on its own intelligence, and don't let internal fight happen. Basically,
No,
work
no.
together.
Flow with it. Now you see, because mind, our brain, let's talk about the brain. The brain physically is connected with nerves to the gut. So it is true when people say that mind and body are one. It's true.
Mhm.
It's
I mean,
true.
it is true. It is just that we separated it, and
No,
we like to
no.
manipulate the system to work for us,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Uh,
So just want to repeat this important point.
See, I told you
The
Roland is
mas- the master clock is up in the brain, suprachiasmatic nucleus, right?
right.
Just up the nose there. This is the master clock. But when we eat, when we are not supposed to eat, this will interrupt with the signal up here. And the body goes haywire. Hey, so you want me to sleep or you want me to digest? So since the food is there, I digest. So you can't sleep.
Nice,
You see?
nice, nice.
Yeah.
Don't confuse your system. So
No.
Roland says 3 hours before you go to sleep, make sure you have your last meal or your last drink.
For
So
the day. Yeah.
working backwards. So the first thing is decide what time you're sleeping. First thing when it comes to your food, besides
Yeah.
eating the right food, make sure you give your body 3 hours
The
to digest
timing. Yeah.
food and 12 hours to 16 hours of no food before
Mm,
you break fast is what you are saying. Now,
that's right.
that brings us to another controversial issue. Now, I'm happy with that because I don't usually take breakfast. I'm like kind
Okay.
of happy except for my coffee. So
Okay.
breakfast is coffee. La. So now the thing is this, right? Now, a lot of people say, like I sleep at 10 o'clock. So if I sleep at 10, I don't. If I sleep at 10 o'clock and I have an 8 hour cycle, I wake up
Yeah.
at 6,
Okay.
right? That's right. So I've had an 8 hour sleep. plus a 3 hour rest. So that's 11 hours. So
Mm.
rightfully, I shouldn't have my first cup of coffee before 7.
Mm. Yeah. In
And
fact, coffee is maybe I just touch on this one before it slips on my mind. Coffee has got a lifespan of 50% in 6 hours, a lifespan of 25% in 12 hours. So if I take a cup of coffee from Starbucks, I repeat, lifespan of 50% in 6 hours and
okay,
lifespan of 25% in 12 hours. Let me just quickly explain. If I go to Starbucks and buy a Americano black, they normally take about 120 milligrams of coffee powder and they grind it and then they pump it through the water and then, yeah, one cup of drink, 120 milligrams, right? So after 6 hours, I take it in 10 o'clock in the morning. 6 hours later, which is 4 p.m., 50% of the caffeine is still in my bloodstream. So from 4 o'clock, you add another 6 hours until 10 o'clock at night, when I'm supposed to be starting to doze off to sleep, there's still 25% of caffeine in my bloodstream. And that's from one cup of coffee. Normally, last time I used to drink 4 cups of coffee. So 25% times 4, I still have 100% of caffeine in my bloodstream when I wanted to sleep at 10 o'clock. How can I sleep? So we need to see what we eat and what we drink, the after effect. It takes a few hours to take
I really don't like you, Roland.
effect.
You've cut into my space of coffee. Okay.
That's my
Whoa.
job. That's my job.
I now need to work very hard at liking you. So already Roland has given us golden nuggets, 3 hours before you sleep.
Yeah.
Have your meal. Your first break fasting should actually have a space of 12 hours minimally,
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
to 16 hours. And that's where
Mm.
you bring in your intermittent fasting, is what you're
Yes.
saying. And the other bad news he gave is coffee stays in your body. 50% of the coffee still stays in your body after 6 hours. And after 12 hours, 25% of it is still lingering
Still in
in
the
your body.
bloodstream.
Now,
That's right.
so you just count back, like, do your maths, and I will be depressed if I do the counting.
But
So I just
don't
want to
worry.
say,
Don't worry about it because there's something we can do to replace coffee. Now, chamomile tea, caffeineless. Any tea that is golden crystal color, because of the compound of the crystal, it doesn't contain caffeine. It has taste and it tastes good in hot water. Why I say that? Because I experimented with myself. I do not have chamomile tea at that time at home. I drank hot water. This may sound strange, but physically it satisfies my palate because I'm used to drinking hot drink after a meal. So instead of coffee, I drink hot water. That hot water replaces my need for coffee because I realized I needed something hot, not coffee.
okay, if it works for me, I'll buy you a drink, okay?
Buy me
Because
chamomile.
yeah, and yeah, I will buy it for you because
Okay,
I
let's move
just
on.
love my afternoon coffee. So
Yeah.
the other thing that you said, which I think is really critical, but before that, I'm just going to say hello to my two wonderful friends who have put in their comment. Gerald Fernandez, he will be a good friend, La Roland, because he is a health freak. So he's the one next about sleeping, and so he
Okay.
would love. And I have another wonderful friend here, Luis Marias. He said this topic is so important because he struggles to sleep.
Mm.
And Gerald has come on to say that agree, it's about changing and developing better habits. It is different for everyone. So, which is what you're talking about, work with your
Yeah.
own body cycles. Hence, each must find their own to get a good
Yes.
circadian rhythm. Yeah, so clever, la Gerald, you thanks. And he's talking REM sleep is important too. Now, I'm going to park the REM sleep because I don't want him to hijack my question. My next question for you is this, right? I liked what you said. I mean, we've read a lot about blue light and not using the phone, but I think
Yeah.
you've given us two parts to it, right?
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
part is the idea, the impact of the blue light, which comes from
Yeah.
our laptop, mobile
Gadget. Yeah.
gadgets, right? So we've heard it, but we are still very stubborn about it, including me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I want to do the last bit, right? So you are saying absolutely blue light, get away from your devices 1 hour
Yeah.
before. Now,
Yeah.
that's just for the blue light, but I think what you said is really important, because what you're also saying is that even if you're doing 1 hour before, what you are reading is important,
Yes.
because it
Yes.
has an emotional impact on you.
Yes.
And if it makes you feel stressful, then
Yes.
you're releasing cortisol, which
Yes.
then is not, which is going to impact your what you call it,
Sleep
circadian.
hormone, circadian rhythm, and the sleep hormone melatonin is conflict with it.
Okay, so tell me, so what I understand is this, right? When we are stressed, we can get into a fight flight mode.
Yes, correct.
Cortisol is released. So I
Yes.
get that, right? So when you're in a flight fight mode, right, or your
Yeah.
stress mode that we all talk about, you
Yeah.
can watch a TikTok and get irritated because some people are just so rude on TikTok.
Correct.
Right, so yeah, so it can get worked up, so your
Mm,
stress is elevated, right? So
mm.
how does stress, or reading an email, or reading a message from someone, right, whichever releases, how does that interrupt your sleep beyond the emotions, right? Because what
Mm.
we're talking about is, I read something stressful, watch something stressful, my
Yeah.
stress level goes up, my cortisol is released.
Yes.
Help
Yes.
us
Yes.
understand, for the stubborn ones, help us understand, how does stress or cortisol affect our sleep?
Well, cortisol makes our heart beat faster, blood rush through our arteries and our veins faster. It
Mm-hmm.
alerts the brain to flight or fawn.
Mm.
So it activates the brain, where activate means we become alert. Our muscles are tense, our pupils are dilated, ready to fight, ready to run, for example. Such a tense body,
Mm.
we cannot relax, and relaxation helps sleep.
Nice. Nice. So basically, what you're doing is that you're shifting. So what
Mm.
happens when you get stressed? Your sympathetic nervous system gets activated. To
Yes,
rest and relax, you need to increase your parasympathetic activity system, which
yes,
is
correct,
part of
correct,
your autonomic nervous system. So
correct.
what you're doing is you're telling your body it's stressed, and your body is going to be on alert mode.
Alert mode. You can't help it. We can't help it because
Yeah,
it's
it's natural.
automaticity. It's natural automaticity in the neural sense. We cannot
Nice.
say stop thinking about it and it stops. No, it doesn't stop.
You
So
wish
we
you can.
our yeah, always prevention is better than cure. So if we know we read this email from the office, we're going to get stressed out. Then we have a choice to read or not to read. To read, I interrupt sleep. Not to read can sleep. If it is not that urgent, tomorrow morning, first thing, I'll get it done. Then
Mm,
we have to make that decision. So the
mm.
decision is with us. I know some of us say, oh, the bosses send, no choice, we have to reply. Maybe once in a while, fine. But if every night like this, and then the sleep of it, we will suffer. And that's what I suggest when I do coaching and training, is to tell each other how emails, these type of emails sent to me at let's say late at night, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, it is detrimental to me. Can you send it earlier? Can you send it like 4 o'clock or request immediately to me in the afternoon so that I can settle it before 6? Then I can relax myself at night. Then I can sleep. Tomorrow morning, I come to work with a clear mind and I'm more productive to help the team. So it's
Or
about communication as well.
one is communication. I think the other one is also setting our own boundaries for ourselves, to say that
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
working from this time
yes,
unless it's
yes.
urgent. You find another way to contact me, but I'm not
Right,
doing
right,
emails at this
right.
time.
And people around us, the important ones like work, colleagues, or family, they need to know our schedule or our boundaries or our needs. And
Yeah.
then now, starting that time, they will say, Roland, why you don't reply email after 9? And then I explain to them. And then now they are saying, don't bother sending any email after 9. He won't answer. He'll be sleeping.
Nice. Nice. Okay, so we've done all the bad things that I cringed. I hope, let's go to some good news for me.
Sure.
So we've done the lights, we've done the lights, and sorry, the
Mm.
stress and devices, and the kind of information that gets into our system and affects our system.
Yes.
Now it's my favorite. How about alcohol? Because some people are going to say This is my favorite, right? Because it's like, you know what, alcohol helps me to sleep, and you're telling me I cannot take
No.
I basically can take water after my last meal 3 hours before. So where does alcohol fall here?
Alcohol,
Before that, a lot
alcohol.
of people are going to hate you for this, but anyway, say it.
I think that I'm not going to be popular with the pubs. Anyway, alcohol is a form of sedative. It sedates our body, our brain. It doesn't relax our. It doesn't relax us. It sedates us. Sedates means in layman terms, it knock you out unconscious, but you're not sleeping. You're just unconscious, right? So that means from a sleep perspective, it doesn't help us get to deep sleep. So we are deprived of deep sleep if we drink alcohol. And deep sleep is so important. Deep sleep is so important for the consolidation of our memory.
Okay, hold on. We will go into sleep cycle shortly because I want to take
Sure.
notes. Right?
Okay.
That's my interest. So
Yeah.
tell us, alcohol is a sedative.
Yes.
So when I drink alcohol and I
It
sleep,
numbs you. It numbs you.
like for me, it will knock me out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
With,
But
you know,
you're not going through the cycle of sleep that is so essential for a natural sleep. You have, if I may call it, a sedated sleep, which is minusing the deep sleep. And we
Ah,
need light sleep, deep sleep, and dream sleep to have one full cycle. And you wake up refreshed.
we will talk about the cycle shortly because that's
Sure.
magical for us.
Sure.
So what we need to know is that alcohol, when we drink alcohol and we think we're going to sleep, is sedative sleep. And
Yeah.
you said, so what is sedative sleep? Sedative sleep is you're not going through the cycle. And the cycle, the part that you're missing is the deep sleep, which is
Yes.
where the repair happens, is what you're saying. So we sleep. It may seem that we are sleeping, but we're not having the deep sleep,
Yeah.
which means the repair part is actually skipped.
Correct.
Is it
Or
correct?
the consolidation of the memory happens during natural deep sleep. So I think to differentiate it, Mala, is sedated sleep or natural sleep.
Okay,
Sedated sleep means you take some chemicals to make you sleep, but it's not natural. So you don't go through the cycles.
brilliant. Because
Natural sleep means all the
you go
cycles
through
you go
the
through.
cycle. Okay, so we're going to talk about the cycle. Hang in there.
Sure.
Hi,
Sure.
Tangam Mason. Now, so if I take sleeping pills,
Yeah.
flu medicine,
Yeah.
because after that I just knock out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or cough mixture, that
Yeah.
is considered sedative sleep.
Yes. It doesn't bring us to natural sleep.
So people who are on regular sedatives, whatever the sedative is, because alcohol is just one form, right? And some
Correct.
people take cough mixture, for example, or flu
Correct.
medication because it helps me to get unconscious. So I think I'm sleeping, but that's why I get up not feeling rested.
Yes. And most of the patients who take these sedatives or depression pills or sleeping pills, right? The day they wake up, the following day when they wake up, their mind's very foggy.
Right.
They are moody,
Okay.
short-tempered. They got problem with anger management
Okay. So tell me, why does that happen?
because the body is still stressed, not enough deep sleep.
Deep sleep. Okay. So which means that now you have to teach us, tell us, and help us to be aware of the sleep cycles, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can talk to us about it.
Right, right. Yeah.
All right.
So
Introduce us to the sleep cycle.
thanks. Yeah. So stage one basically stage one and two are light sleep. That means when 10 o'clock, for example, my example, 10 o'clock I lay down and I'm starting to sleep already. So stage one, stage two are light sleep, which is called a non-REM light sleep, meaning someone wakes me up, it's very easy for me to get up or be awoken, right? So that's light sleep. And this is important because my breathing, my blood flow, my blood pressure is slowing down, right? Now, then we go, this is 15 minutes. Stage one and two happens within roughly 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, we go into 1 hour of and non-REM stage 3, non-REM stage 4. And that's 1 hour, roughly 1 hour. And this deep sleep is more difficult to wake me up because my brain is really like shut down. And this deep sleep, right, stage 3 and 4, two things happen very important. Number one is the cleansing of our brain of all the toxins and waste occurred during the day. All right. Secondly is the consolidation of memories. I will brief. Would you like me to go a little bit more context in terms of these two?
Yes, please.
Right. Now, our brain and our spinal cord is protected by a fluid that is called cerebral spinal fluid. It acts as an anti-shock protection for our brain and our spinal cord.
Mm-hmm.
When we go into deep sleep, the tissue that is enveloping our brain, it expands and provide gaps for this cerebral spinal fluid to flow through our brain to take out all the proteins, toxins, radicals away from our brain, around our neurons, take it away, deposit it into our blood flow, and then it brings to the liver to be metabolized. Hence, with deep sleep, our brain is cleansed. One of the things that I would tell my clients to make sure that they pay attention is actually Alzheimer's disease.
Right.
Alzheimer's disease is caused by the accumulation of a kind of protein that's called beta amyloid protein. Beta amyloid floats between neurons, and when they meet, they become entangled. They become a tangled piece of plaque, just like our teeth, the plaque. That plaque sticks onto the neurons and kills it. So if that batch of neurons is for me to read, and one day I'll find myself difficult to recognize the word and I can't read it. And that's the first sign of Alzheimer's. And that's the impact of the brain not cleansed of the beta amyloid protein.
Okay.
So when I sleep and go into stage 3 and stage 4 deep sleep, I'm telling myself, sleep, man, this is important. I need to cleanse my brain.
Okay. So stage 1 and stage 2, or rather light sleep, is actually getting your whole body ready for deep sleep.
Yes.
Deep sleep. So, and that's why you earlier spoke about the light, the temperature, because you then get through stage 1 and stage 2 better by preparing your body for it.
Correct.
So if you are saying that it will take 15 minutes to an hour, is it, for stage 1?
15 minutes, roughly, the research shows 15 minutes for stage 1 and 2.
1 and 2, 15 minutes.
15
and
minutes.
Then what we want to get to is actually deep sleep. And
yes.
What's the quality for one sleep cycle? What is
1 hour?
1 hour. So
Yeah.
that's 15 minutes. There is 1 hour. And REM, tell us about REM now.
Okay, REM sleep is rapid eye movement sleep. This is where we dream.
Okay.
We dream, right? So that's 15 minutes.
Okay.
So one cycle is 1.5 hours.
So tell us why REM is important.
REM is important because of the dream. When we are in dream state, right, we will be able to overcome traumas.
Oh.
Because when we are dreaming, the more we dream about a trauma, our emotion due to that trauma is mollified. Mollified is a scientific word for it removes the emotion bit by bit. Only
you
when
are
you dream.
finding your closure in your system, is what is
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Because you are settling the stuff that you're carrying in your system.
Yes.
Dream
yes.
state. Because
Dream state.
yeah, you don't need to solve the problem in real life, but
That's
you're
right.
getting it resolved in your dream state, which means
That's
that
right.
it actually has a chance to
That's right.
find a closure. Oh, brilliant.
Right. Right. Now, I'll give you an example for more context. Let's say today I'm worried about an issue, or I have to make a very big decision. Most people layman terms says, I will sleep on it. which is true. Once they sleep on it and these troubling thoughts cross their mind, only
Right.
when REM sleep, right, or deep sleep and REM sleep, we are able to consolidate the thought in deep sleep, and we can also remove the emotion on that trauma.
Mm.
The following morning when we get up, we are more rational.
Mm.
We are able to think through the issue better, or we can even come up with a creative solution to it.
Nice,
Uh,
nice.
Maybe if I backtrack a little bit, which is something that is so important. Stage 3 and 4, deep sleep, is where we consolidate our memory.
Right.
Right? It happens in the hippocampus, for example. Major organ will be in our brain, hippocampus. You just imagine that every day, everything that we go through, there are many parts of our brain store our experiences per day in our thumb drive. Only when we go into deep sleep, this thumb drive is plugged into our mainframe, the whole brain, and everything we know relating to that particular issue is connected to it. That means we upload from thumb drive to our mainframe during deep sleep. And
Got it.
this is so important for kids, for example, when they study. Every day they study mathematics, for example, they work, they practice. Nighttime when they sleep, what they practice is consolidated to their body of knowledge of mathematics. And
Brilliant.
the following day, when they get up, when they get enough sleep, they get up in the morning, they understand the maths.
You get it. You suddenly
This
get
is
it.
get it, yeah.
Okay.
When another example, when the boss is talking and explaining the process, this guy is struggling. I don't understand, but give him time to sleep over it, and then the following morning, boss, I got it. I know what to do.
Got it. Got it. Now I get this because sometimes I'm thinking about a client, an idea, and when I sleep and I wake up, I'm like, I know what to do
Yes,
to solve it.
yes,
If I've said
yes,
so. So tell me, so if one cycle is about 90 minutes, is what you're saying, 15, 1 hour, so 15, 60, 15. 15
yes.
to get ready, 60 to recover, basically rest and relax and recover, and another 15 minutes for you to consolidate and basically, with the REM is to get rid of stuff.
The feeling, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I got that, right? And what you also said, which was really important, is that if you don't get enough deep sleep, because I'm getting worried because I don't get enough deep sleep. If you don't get enough deep sleep, you're saying that because the brain doesn't get enough time, or enough time, basically, you're not spending enough time to actually discard the protein or whatever toxic that's in your
yes,
system, which
yes,
that can, there's a link to Alzheimer and probably many other illnesses that
yes.
we
Correct,
don't know of.
correct.
So sleep affects your health directly, right?
Yes,
Now,
yes.
so the question is this, right? So that means how much. So how does someone know how much of sleep do I need? So for me, I generally lived on say 6 hours. 6 hours is perfect if I have good quality sleep.
Yeah, yeah,
Once in a blue moon, I'll need 7 hours, right? So if I look at a 6 hour cycle, right? And so is there a minimum sleep hours that is stipulated? Because I know
yeah,
Gallup's work says some people need 6, some people need 8 to 9. And
yeah,
Gallup also tells us don't oversleep. So more than 8 hours is an oversleep.
yeah. Yeah. Now, I will start with this. Every individual has got different needs.
Okay?
But the study has shown that adults, that means when you are 18 and above or above 18, and adults, even though you are 60 plus, 70 plus, average of 8 hours
Mm,
for optimum sleep.
sure.
So plus minus 1 hour, right? Plus minus 1 hour. So like 7 hours to 9 hours, for example, is great. So that is the study. That is the study. Now,
Okay?
from a practical point of view, we always have to test ourselves. Like for
Check
you,
it.
6 hours is okay. It's okay, 6 hours, right? Now, and we need to constantly test it out. You know why? You know why? Let's go back to Alzheimer's. Now, Alzheimer's starts when we are in our 20s. Alzheimer's starts in terms of what? In terms of the accumulation of the beta amyloid protein. It starts
Mm,
that age.
mm,
And the full-blown impact of the protein accumulation starts when we are like 65 or so.
right.
And this is relevant to everyone watching. And at the moment, it seems that people are getting Alzheimer's earlier than 65.
Mm,
because of the advanced technology we have that's interrupting sleep.
But basically, I mean, it can be technology or non-technological, right? But
It can be both.
because we have technology, we have temptations to get into that space,
To more, yes, right.
to do more of that. But if you don't do what is right for your body, it would happen anyway, isn't it? And
It's true.
what you're saying is that probably because we are not looking after our well-being, i.e., in this case, sleep, the number of Alzheimer patients are increasing. Number one, and the age is getting lower, and that is
earlier.
That is true for a lot of mind or mental related diseases anyway, right? Because on one hand, we have a lot of information. On the other hand, we don't walk the walk.
Yeah,
that's right. We accumulate knowledge, but we don't practice the knowledge, is what you said, right?
Yeah, but
we all know it's important, right? But we don't do it.
Yeah, but this particular study is actually research in terms of usage of technology. So this is very specific in that sense.
Nice.
Yeah, just to put it out there.
Okay. So many both good news and bad news. So the sleep cycle. So everyone So one sleep cycle is 15, 60.
1 hour and 15. That's right.
Okay. So if I look at my sleep cycle, which I actually detect, for example, and I'm not getting enough deep sleep, of course, I get this notice that I didn't get enough deep sleep. So rightfully, even with 6 hour sleep cycle, I should be getting 4 hours of deep sleep, is what you're saying.
Actually, what happens is that for the first 2 cycles, your deep sleep is as what we have spoken, 1 hour.
Right.
But for the following cycles, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 7th cycle, is more of REM sleep than deep sleep.
Okay.
Right. Now, before that, let's set this straight. The sleep cycles that we need is 7 cycles.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
No, sorry. It's 7.5 hours, but we need 5 cycles, which is 7.5 hours. Right?
Okay.
Sorry, 5 cycles, but 7.5 hours. Now, but for the 3rd, 4th, 5th cycle, more of the REM sleep happens, and that's why for some people they get up in the morning, they can't sleep, and then after 1-2 hours, early in the morning, they fall back to sleep. They immediately dream.
Okay. All right. So, what is an adequate amount of deep sleep that is required for enough repair to take place?
Well, I
know you will give a range. It depends on the body, but give us a feel of deep sleep.
Yeah. Let's say now for the first 2 cycles, you have 2 hours there already. And then after that, it really depends. But if you want to put a figure to it, probably like 45 minutes for the following cycles, right? 45 minutes, 30 minutes for the following cycles. Let's say 30 minutes for the following 3 cycles. 3 times 3 is about 90 minutes of deep sleep. However, the rest will be the REM sleep, the dreaming state.
Okay, good. So one question, sir, for me,
Sure.
I don't get enough deep sleep. So what can I do to increase my deep sleep?
Basically, the holistic approach, like we have just spoken just before this point.
All the things,
Yeah, all the things.
Okay, got it. I don't like it, but I got it. I got my answer with the last bit, right? We all know, because we only have like 4 more minutes.
Sure.
To wrap up. The last bit that I would love to check in with you is that we know exercise leads to good sleep.
Yes, that's right.
Exercise contributes, which is movement. So tell us a little bit about either exercise or the idea of movement, how movement impacts the quantity and the quality of sleep, number one. And is there a right time, an appropriate time for it to contribute to better sleep quality?
Right. Exercises or movements. That means for me, movements is a better word, because exercise, everyone think about going to the gym. But for housewives at home, all they need to do is activities that make them sweat and then make them breathe a bit heavier.
Okay.
Right. Now, exercises or movements, enable us to secrete good feel hormones, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, and endocannabinoids, right? Endocannabinoids. So basically, these are all the feel good hormones that relaxes us. So the relaxing impact make us able to sleep better. Now, exercises are recommended in the late afternoon where our body coordinations are best and our muscle strength at the peak. Then we tire ourselves. And the second point is that the movement or the exercises, if it is strenuous enough to each individual's level, we are tired enough to fall asleep better.
So one is we need movement, regular movement
Yes.
is what you're
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is that in context of whether it's movement or exercise,
Yeah.
your body needs to stretch.
Yes. And to
That means-
relax. After effect of the exercise or movement will be relaxation because of the feel good hormones, right? And also the body feels tired. That we want the tiredness at the end of the day to help us sleep. So it's actually knowing our biology when we should tire ourselves, and the purpose is to sleep.
So how long? So what do you have any information? So for example, right?
Yeah.
How much it's like your food, right? 3 hours before you go to sleep, your body is working. So I'm sure especially if you're exercising, I think movement is not so bad because your heart
Yeah.
rate is up a lot.
Yes.
But when
Yes.
you're doing heavy exercise,
Yeah.
right? Like heat
Yeah.
exercises, people who after work go to the gym and are really working out, your heart rate
Yes.
is up, right?
Yes.
So, and when your heart rate is up, doesn't your body feels that it is now stressed?
That's why we should not exercise 3 hours before we want to prepare to sleep.
Right.
If too near to the sleeping time, it's a problem. So we also need to like diet lah, like food lah, right? 6 o'clock we stop eating because 3 hours for digestion. So we also need to exercise a few hours before sleep in order to enable us to sleep better.
Unless I'm doing something that relaxes me, maybe like a
Different.
stroll, a walk. I
Yeah,
don't know, maybe some yoga exercises that actually
that'll be
calms.
best. That'll be best. Now,
Okay.
movement, right? There are three types, right? Endurance, right? You run, you breathe, your breathing apparatus. Then you got flexibility, you got strength. So you need to choose which activity you do in the afternoon. A lot of people also go to gym in the morning. So that's fine to alertness and all. But in the evening, those who do activity in the evening got to be mindful what type of exercises or workout or activity at home that can enable you to sleep or stop you from sleeping. So don't do the ones that stop you from sleeping.
Wow.
And give it time, 2-3 hours before sleep, finish with that movement or exercise.
Mm, so that your body now moves from fight flight state or
Yes, to
heightened state,
relax. Yeah,
from a heightened state to basically to relax, right?
calm
So
down.
this
Calm
is
down.
where you can think of things that you can do that calms you down. It could be
Yes.
hobbies, it could be meditation,
Yeah.
mindfulness, and whatever that works. In fact, even yoga.
Right.
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 Okay, Gerald says exercise is important, best is morning. So I want to just irritate Gerald for a while and I irritate. Okay, so Roland, tell me, because you did say your muscles work best in the evening, right?
Yeah.
So Gerald is saying in the morning. So can you help me counter that, please?
Yeah. Firstly, it depends on individual.
Okay.
I go to the gym in the morning. It helps me to stay alert, and also go for walks or do home light stretching and exercises. Also, it helps me. So it depends on individual. Maybe for Gerald that works. It's fine. Go ahead. Because for us, right, do what's suitable for us.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Yeah. I was hoping that I can disagree with
I'm
you.
a I'm a very liberal person.
Yeah. You're too good. Okay. So, okay, Gerald, exercise is important. Best is in the morning for you is what Roland says. Okay. Now, so how about, so before we just close off and probably
Yeah.
do a rapid fire, right? Now, some people are going to actually, they have um, what do you call it? Oh my God, lifestyles, right? Maybe it's
Yeah,
work where
yeah,
you're working at odd hours.
yes, yes,
So if
yes.
I'm working odd hours, but a regular odd hours, because we're talking
Ah,
about regularity of sleep and wake.
yeah,
That's
that's
what
right.
you say, right? So
Yeah,
let's say my work is such that I'm on a shift job. That
yeah,
means I
okay.
finish work maybe at 12. I
Yeah,
do 12 to 12.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
I come home at 1 o'clock. And my regular sleep cycle is at 2, for example,
2 p.m. you mean?
AM.
A.m. Okay.
Okay, just giving you an example, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I that means I go to bed because by the time I come back from work, hopefully I don't eat during bedtime. Okay, so let's keep all of that clean. So I come back home and I am able to rest and go to sleep at 2.
yeah.
So if I
Okay.
sleep at 2 a.m.,
Yeah.
will my body then create its own circadian rhythm? That means
Yes.
2 plus, let's say I sleep for 8 hours, I wake up at 10
10 o'clock. That's
or
right.
8 o'clock, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So, but let's say whatever the sleep cycle is, I
Yes.
sleep and I wake up. So, so how does that connect with sunrise? How does your
Mm.
circadian rhythm now connect with the earthly rhythm?
Yeah. Shift workers are facing these challenges, and I'm going to take up this topic, and also to address it with the public and also maybe some the government. You know, now you see, if we continuously sleeping at 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. and every day, Monday to Sunday, we do that month after month, year after year, then it's fine. Your circadian rhythm is conditioned for sleeping 2 a.m., 10 a.m., and then 10 a.m. you get up, you go about your life, and then 2 a.m. the following day you sleep also you also sleep at the same time. Then your
Right.
circadian rhythm is fine. But the problem comes is when family comes into play.
Mm,
When weekend comes, your family at 10 o'clock goes to the shopping mall, for example, and then you get up, you go to the shopping. Let's say, for example, 10 o'clock they go, right? And then you may not be able to join them, for example, and
mm,
then but it interrupts your sleeping time. Let's say, for example, 8 o'clock or 7:30 they go for dim sum for breakfast, and they say, okay, family time, let's get up and go. Then you interrupted your sleep, not enough 8 hours, for example,
mm.
and that interruption of your sleep interrupts your circadian rhythm flow, and this is what we call social jet lag.
Mm.
It's just like jet lag when you fly from England to Malaysia, 7 hours or 8 hours difference. Your body readjusts itself, and for 1 hour of difference you need roughly about 1 day to recover.
Right.
So for example, let's say weekend, then we are interrupted our schedule already, right? And then Monday we go back to work. And then you go back to what you want, 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. sleep. And then it's another interruption.
Nice.
And then the weekend comes, you change, you follow your family time, and then you interrupt that pattern again. So constantly is flowing to and fro, interruption upon interruption every week. And that's why shift workers for the employers need to understand this and give allowance for their performance review and give them support for mental support and say, how are you doing? Are you coping well? What can we do to help you, and get the professionals to go in and say, how do you cope with this jet lag problem?
Nice. And I think you've just answered Jaspuvan Singh's
Yeah,
question. Jaspuvan, I hope I am pronouncing it well. He says, hi, Malar and Roland. It's
I
definitely
see that.
interesting. I'm curious to know what your thoughts about bosses saying you need less sleep. Very
Mm.
simple. If you have been listening from the beginning, uh, get Roland to talk to your bosses. Okay. Either that, you can actually Google
Yes.
up all the data
Mm.
that Roland has given, because I think what is clear is this: we need to one have understand the circadian rhythm, we need to understand our biological clock, and we need to work with what is natural with being a human. And when
Mm.
we define nature, you can survive it, but there are long-term implication, which is health
Yes.
implication, and that's what Roland has been sharing. from
Yes.
Alzheimer to other diseases that is actually becoming prevalent among younger people. And sleep disorder is one of the bigger things that's actually happening.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
I'm not sure whether you were there from the beginning, but if your bosses need to hear it, one is they are not as smart as they think they are, because all these answers are a
True.
Google away. And if you need
Mm.
someone to knock on their heads, call Roland. Because he will give you enough science data, right? Because I mean, there's a lot of in the well-being space, right, Roland?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
always have this argument: if you really care
Yeah.
for your people, do you even have to put a coffee machine out there? Because coffee
Correct.
machine introduced for people to consume more coffee so that they can stay awake at work,
That's right.
right?
Yeah. I think this one really need to have the reverse engineering it.
Yeah.
They are putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, just Bhuvan, if I may say this, and you're not going to like me, I think this is where, and I think we're in the right space, because more and more younger people are saying,
Yeah.
my well-being comes before everything else, because they
Mm.
are really smart enough to say that I cannot commit little suicidal acts every day in the name of work and die for my company.
That's right. That's right.
You're
That's
making
right.
different choices, and I
Yeah.
think it's really about us also taking a stand, being, having the right knowledge, from people like
Yes.
Roland, know
Yeah.
how we work, and we make choices for ourselves, because we are
Yeah.
always exchanging our life for something, and
That's
sometimes
right.
that something doesn't give you the life that you want.
That's right. That's right. I'll give you a quick example for context. One of my coachee had problems sleeping.
Mm,
When I coach her, she started to sleep well. She influenced her daughter, teenage daughter. She influenced her husband,
nice.
and the whole family is sleeping better. And guess what? Their relationship much better. If not,
Okay,
then there were a lot of arguments.
nice.
So
Thank you.
so yeah, we need to have that influence.
Thank you.
Kids,
Thank you, Roland.
because kids don't know better.
Yeah. And kids are looking at how we live our life anyway.
That's right.
We can't tell our children to put away their gadgets when we are on our gadgets, right?
That's right.
So
Yes.
it's a tough call. All right. So, Roland, I really want to thank you for
Sure. Welcome.
extremely informative. You've given us a lot. For those who've missed it, and if you think what Roland is saying is interesting, please, watch this all over again, because there was nuggets all over. And now, I'm going to call you for a podcast. You have to say yes, La Roland. Huh? But before we go, any last piece of advice before I ask you one or two rapid questions?
Yeah, I think knowledge applied and transform. Whatever we hear, try it out, test it, and then keep it consistent applying it, and your sleep will be better.
Nice, thank you. Gerald says thank you, Mother and Roland. Loads of good information. Thank you,
Thank you,
Gerald, for
brother.
supporting us. Gerald is a very good friend Gerald first, actually. He has appeared on all my 52 episodes, no, 50 episodes. He missed two.
Wow,
So great friend, great supporter.
fantastic.
Very grateful for that. Luis is another person who comes quite regularly to support us. So thank you.
Mm.
And, very quickly, before we sign off, the series is known as Being Whole, Being Me. Our objective is to bring in information to create awareness among, well, specifically Malaysians and Asians. We bring in local speakers so that they can reach out to you for the kind of
Mm.
expertise that we require, because the way we live
Yeah.
here is different, right? And
Mm.
we are in the episode 52. I just want to just check in with you, right?
Yeah.
Sleep. So just finish the sentence, right?
Yeah.
Good sleep hygiene makes one whole. Finish the sentence.
Filled with love, peace, and joy.
Whoa. And I can truly be me with good sleep hygiene. Finish
Because, yeah, finish the sentence. Because my true self will show after a good sleep.
Okay. The common lies of sleep that
Less, the more deprived you are, the better you are as a worker.
wow. And the worst advice that we have taken at an intellectual level that drops away sleep from us is
Just have a few whiskey and then you can sleep like a baby.
You will be sedated like a baby. Guys, Roland, thank you very much. A brilliant time. I learned
Thank
so
you.
much, and I'm going to learn a lot more from you. I want to thank you for saying
Thank
yes,
you.
for spending your time. I wish you all the best. Please contact Roland, either for coaching or if you just want to sleep better and live better, right? Roland,
Sure.
thank you for your
Thanks. Thank you.
weekend. Bye.
Bye. Bye,
And
everybody. Cheers.
all right, as we say bye to Roland, people who stayed with us, thank you very much for staying on with us. Really appreciate your time and your support with us. Click our YouTube, and we've actually uploaded, snippets of the best things that actually come out from our speakers. So connect to our YouTube so that you can watch the summaries if you don't have that 1 hour. We're also on Spotify. Find us on Hearts and Minds, being whole, being me. And if you just want to listen to the audio, now with that, I'm going to sign off. Now, as I sign off, I'm sure you're wondering who's my next guest. I'm not going to tell you because it's a surprise. We are wrapping up health for the month of April. And next week, being the last week of April, we're going to hopefully surprise you with one more topic, which I'll announce on Monday. With that, take care and stay safe and sleep